hopes it will be 100, although counting is tricky as the targets won't die. Caroline seethes in this heat. Her tired eyes are drawn into her garden as baked air aches from the grass and bees move in drowsy slow motion. A movement on the patio fixes her focus by the herb pots. She runs out and falls onto her hands and knees. The fuckers are multiplying. Hundreds of them pour from cracks in the slabs and move with determination in wavy lines. She stamps on a few, and Nigel, a large fat cat, saunters up to investigate. His massive paw swipes towards the ants, but he is as ineffectual as Caroline. She is interrupted by her mobile phone and shoves an impatient hand into her baggy cotton dress, creased and heavy with sweat. Richard. She doesn't want to talk to Richard. What with his good job, his crisp shirts and perpetually unruffled manner. She'd like to squash him with her foot sometimes. But she loves him, of course. Nigel looks up. He briefly contemplates her before abruptly stretching up a rear leg to lick his bottom. Caroline sits in the dark. Occasionally she stares at her phone and the missed call from Richard. Grabbed by an idea, she goes out to the garden, now in dusk, which surrounds her skin with a calming chill. The fading light glows enough to see as she crouches. They're gone. Is this the time to strike by pouring down the boiling water, as Dad used to say? Scalding water to scald out your devils, he would say, as he drenched it on her reddening hands. She scans the garden for Nigel. He is staring at the ground as only a cat can stare. Caroline looks. There is one single ant, struggling as if sensing its doom. Nigel darts a fat paw towards the squirming insect. "No, shoo!" Caroline shrieks, nudging the confused cat away as she dashes inside the kitchen, grabs the glass and runs out again. Using a leaf, she scoops it up. The door buzzer shocks her attention from her wounded captive, and she knows it is Richard. She hesitates for a moment. "You ignored my calls," Richard states, following as she returns silently to the ant. "I was worried." Caroline taps the glass. "What are you doing?" Richard flits his eyes from her to the table. "You hate those ants." Caroline shrugs and remains silent. "We have to talk, Caroline, you know we do." He puts his hands on her shoulder. "Do you think it can survive?" She moves away from him, lifting up the glass. The movement disturbs a pile on the table and something rustles to the floor. Richard picks up a small white box. "Diazepam? You haven't opened it." "I don't want to. It sends my mind to mush." Richard looks at her and then the box. Caroline feels a familiar anger burn on her face. "Don't start nagging. Won't it help? Especially now." "You always say that." She walks away from the table. "I dealt with the body," he says. "If that's on your mind, it's done. He's gone. Dad is gone." Caroline stares at him. Seconds pass. Nothing moves. Nigel appears and breaks the moment with a bleeping purr. Caroline laughs and lifts up the glass. "Look, baby brother, my own rescued ant. The insect is motionless, dead." Disappointed, she smashes the glass to the floor. Richard steps back, mouth open. Nigel, being a cat, moves to avoid any inconvenience. He stares and he stares. At the glass, at Richard, at Caroline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Penny Pepper.